What's going on, guys? I hope you are having a fantastic day. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we're going to be talking about some modern sets here, the ones that I think are right about to take off. And I don't typically make videos. I don't title my videos, "You better get this set right now. Get it before it takes off." Like I don't like hyping up sets like that. But I'm going to make some valid points. Some rational points for these sets, and there's probably a couple other, I just won't have them in the thumbnail. As you guys know, we're not talking about Scarlet and Violet here because, as you guys know, that's my favorite block because of one set, and that's 151. I might like Scarlet Violet more than Sword and Shield because of 151 alone. I love 151. I think it's better than Evolving Skies for a lot of reasons. I've had way more fun than I will probably ever have with Evolving Skies versus 151, and the values are just holding up well. But this isn't about Scarlet and Violet because I've made plenty of those videos, and I'll probably continue to make them and give updates. We haven't had any reprints of 151. I'm sure we will have some more waves coming, but it's pretty crazy. If we don't get more reprints, 151 will skyrocket like I think it will. And I rarely ever use that term like skyrocket because I don't think it's like every Pokemon set is going to be a winner. No, there are going to be winners and there are going to be losers, and eventually all of them are going to go up over time. But okay, let's talk about these two sets right here that I had in the thumbnail. Silver Tempest, woo, with that Lugia on the front, and Brilliant Stars with the Charizard on the front. These two sets were probably the most iconic Sword and Shield sets to me personally. Huge fanboy for Lugia, even bigger fanboy for Charizard. So when I saw Brilliant Stars, I got really excited. As many of you know that have followed this channel, I got burned on Brilliant Stars. I never got the chase card, that Charizard. I opened a ton of Brilliant Stars and have continued to open Brilliant Stars. Still have not gotten that Charizard. I've bought two of them. One to just keep and look at is an extra, maybe to sell down the road, and then one that's in my binder. Same thing with the Silver Tempest. I have one that's in my binder, and then one up on my shelf just so I can look at it occasionally, because those are some of the best alt arts from Sword and Shield in my opinion. And that's also my basis for these sets, right? I don't understand why they're still sitting where they are. I don't even have a lot of them. I think I have a case of Silver Tempest. I think I have 3 Brilliant Stars booster boxes, maybe only 2, and some sleeves, and an ETB. I really don't have a lot of product. So there's not a lot of reason for me to push these videos. But if I wasn't so dead set on collecting my vintage goals, which I've got a really awesome auction video that we're going to do tomorrow probably, that I'm going to talk about some incredible opportunities right now presenting themselves in this current market. But as far as just modern sealed, I want to put my money where my mouth is, and that's why I've been chilling on doing the modern sealed videos, because I'm not going to talk about these sets and pump them up if I'm not actively building positions in them, right? I'm going to speak based on my experience and what I'm actively doing at the time. And actively right now, I'm collecting stuff for my personal collection. I'm collecting cards that I just wanted for a long time. And that's just not going to relate to everybody. And so it's tough for me because I want to make content that's more relatable, that more people can watch and enjoy and be like, oh yeah, I was thinking about buying that set too. You might hear my daughter Aspen in the background. I also did get a haircut finally. I don't look like a homeless person. But in terms of these modern sets, despite not buying them actively right now, I feel like I should be. I genuinely feel like I should be. There are some drawbacks to modern sealed investing. People need to account for the storage space. They need to account for how long they're going to be sitting on this stuff. I feel like no one is ever talking about that. It's only just the numbers, some of the highest sold listings. Guys, it's going to take a while for a lot of this stuff to move, but that doesn't mean that there isn't great potential, in my opinion. If we look at Sun and Moon boxes and how well those have moved, now that was a different era. It was a different printing. The numbers were completely different from Sword and Shield, where they're printing way more than they were before, and now Scarlet and Violet is building on that even more so. But still, I feel like the arts in these sets, and I've talked about this before, My reasoning for buying Evolving Skies when it was cheaper was not because of all the alt arts in that set. It was really hinged on two things. One, some of my favorite cards being in that set. You've got Umbreon and you've got Rayquaza. Rayquaza is really more of a favorite of mine than Umbreon personally. Umbreon just reminds me of the Eevee evolutions, and they're kind of like little bunny rabbits. And Eevee evolutions are sick. I love them, but still, that just doesn't do it for me. Charizard, Rayquaza, Groudon, just these big legendary type Pokemon that are aggressive and fearsome. That's what does it for me. I would say Lugia is in that bit, but that's why I liked Evolving Skies. I liked it because of the colors. I liked it, the box design. I liked that it had Rayquaza in it. It's the same reason, those fundamental reasons why I like sets like this. You know, just looking at this artwork, I'm like, damn, this set is going to be so fire. And the same thing with looking at this artwork. I'm like, wow, they have really done it this time. Pokemon Company has brought out some incredible sets. Like, Sword and Shield would have been good without these sets. It would have been good without these sets. Let's not forget about Astral Radiance. Astral Radiance is phenomenal too. It just doesn't... Pialka and Dialga, those are going to be fan favorites for a lot of other people. For me, they just aren't favorites of mine. Lost Origin is also notable to kind of throw in this segment, but Lost Origin has already started moving a good bit. It would make sense that set would be far more valuable than these sets based on just the one card, that Giratina, being in that set and still holding really good value. It makes sense why that set would be a little bit more expensive. And then we're not going to talk about special sets. 151 is in its own league, but when we're specifically talking about Sword and Shield, I'm not impressed by the special sets in Sword and Shield, especially Pokemon Go. Very lackluster. And then if we look at Crown Zenith, also a special set, and I'm sorry, I'm not dogging Crown Zenith. I have a lot of Crown Zenith. I actually do have a good bit of Crown Zenith. And it's finally starting to move a little bit, and that set deserves a lot more love because it does have so many incredible artworks. There's no refuting it. Crown Zenith has the most alt art selection of anything in Sword and Shield. It's got bangers in it. You know, it's got bangers, back-to-back bangers in Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith really should be probably the most valuable set in Sword and Shield. I guess just because it was super popular, they knew it was going to be super popular. They knew it was Sword and Shield going out with a bang with Crown Zenith, and so they printed that set to oblivion. And maybe they'll still do this with 151, even though I still think, because of everything that makes 151 so great, from the types of products to the SIRs to the set being manageable and fairly easy to master, even though I still have not mastered the set and I'm trying to pull every card. I'm short the Hyper Rare Mew, most of you know this already, and the Illustrator Nidoking. I've actually got so many extra cards I've decided to make multiple master sets of 151 because I just love that set. Why toss or sell or get rid of the cards when most of them aren't going to go for that much, other than the popular SIRs, when I can make entire master sets that will be far more valuable as a unit, which is another thing. A reason why it's really important to binder these sets is because you never know how lucky you get with, you know, filling in the puzzle pieces of your binders. You know, if you fill out a set and then you have enough cards, enough bulk, enough reverses, enough, you know, extra trainer galleries and SIRs and hyper rares and full arts, if you have enough of that stuff and you can get close to completing another set, some would argue that it'd be worth it with all that extra bulk that you have to just make another master set and then sell it as a master set. Maybe even buy the final SIR to complete, or final SIRs to complete that master set and then sell it as a whole thing, or just sell it as a partial master set. There's so many great ways you can go about getting some value out of these sets. But again, let's pivot back here. In terms of Sword and Shield sets that have staple products like the booster box, which in my opinion is the most collectible thing in the hobby right now, are booster boxes. I think most people already know this, but I'm just reiterating it for anybody that is new to this channel or new to watching my kind of content. Again, why are these guys important ones? Well, and again, like I said, Astral Radiance, Lost Origin, there are other sets Astral Radiance, I don't think it has that epic chase card. I feel like the Machamp is probably the most valuable thing in Astral, and then Lost Origin has already moved. So we're looking at sets that fall into a particular category of value, right? Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, they don't fall in that category. I feel like there's just not enough going on with those sets, even though the Fat Pikachu is still one of my favorite cards. I really want to pull that card, but I wouldn't throw it in the same category as Silver Tempest and Brilliant Stars, just because the Lugia is extremely iconic, as well as the Charizard, and the price points that they're at, and they're both on Pokemon Center still right now, at $140, I think, on Pokemon Center, which means once the demand exceeds the supply on Pokemon Center, once they sell these out on Pokemon Center, everybody and their mom selling these booster boxes are going to be putting out that it's out of print. They're going to be saying it's out of print. You can't get this on Pokemon Center anymore. As soon as that happens, the minute that happens, these sets will go up. They will inch up in value. I think they will end up hitting that next high of like 150, maybe 160. It makes perfect sense to me. A lot of people enjoy both of these sets. The artwork on both the boxes are phenomenal, particularly Silver Tempest with the Lugia right on the front, and then the Brilliant Stars with the Charizard on the side of the box. It's one of my favorite things about the box. These artworks on the packs look phenomenal. These things are things that I take into account. I like the aesthetics of boxes and products and wrappers. All that stuff matters to me. The color combos, all that stuff is important to me, especially from an artistic, creative standpoint. It's something that pops out at you. And I was pretty shocked. Now, Brilliant Stars, because of that Charizard card, I think, it's still trending around 130, 140, even if it's not on Pokemon Center. People are still bidding on eBay that much to get that box, or they're paying even more than that, which is odd. Which is why I would say, if you're nervous about buying this stuff on eBay or the secondary market, just spend the 140 bucks on Pokemon Center and just buy a box or 2 or 3 boxes on Pokemon Center. I think before we know it, the supply on Pokemon Center is going to be out, and that's when people are going to go, oh, I should have bought more. I should have done more, myself included. I'm definitely considering pulling back on buying some of the Grail cards that I'm going after and getting a couple of these booster boxes before that period runs out, where there's supply and it's easily available on Pokemon Center. And I do think that that's going to come soon. Do I think that it's going to be a quick get rich type thing? No, I don't at all. But I also feel really good about sitting on sealed product for a long time. This is why everyone's making content like, this is the best modern box to buy, and like really stuff that pops out at you to grab you in, to sell you on these sets, is because the majority of them are just preaching whatever they want to preach, but at the same time, they're not too far off. A lot of this stuff down the road, I think, is going to be way more valuable, despite, short term having to sit on this stuff, and, it might sit for a while. I think you have to look at buying modern Pokemon sets and sitting on them. You have to look at it as a long-term alternative investment if you're looking at it as an investment at all, and not just wanting to buy these sets while they're cheap. See, here's the other variable. Some of us, myself included, also want to buy these boxes just to have them, so that way if we do an opening or we do some cool stuff down the road, I will have the same boxes that'll be worth $200 or $220. Maybe it's not all about investing for some of us. And there's also that aspect of like, I want to be able to open this down the road, and I don't want it to be $300 when I open it. I don't want to have to pay that to open a product for the channel. I don't really think it's going to matter for me personally with my full-time job running the bar, and then eBay, I'm making money on eBay, and then I have my YouTube ad revenue. There's really not a lot of reason for me to invest in Pokemon. I think that it could work out, and it's something that I do still believe in. But for me, it makes way more sense to buy the product just because the price is good right now and it's reasonable right now, and it's going to go up in the future. This is the same reason I open a lot of the product during live streams, because if I sit on that product, am I going to make some money on it? Sure, maybe. I might double my money. I might make 20, 30%, but I'm also pulling in money every single month from everything else that I'm doing. There's really not a lot of point for me to sit on that stuff just to sell it down the road. Then it also kind of makes me feel like I'm just a flipper, which isn't a great, it's not a great mentality to have, just buying stuff and hoping that you're going to make some money on it. But when I checked eBay, I saw Brilliant Stars kind of hanging, close to that Pokemon Center price, or even some sales above that Pokemon Center price. Silver Tempest, on the other hand, Silver Tempest is looking like a buy right now. It's honestly looking like a buy right now. I would say go after Silver Tempest before any of the other sets. There's a price as low as $120 right now on eBay. That's a ridiculously good price, in my opinion. When this set came out, I bought, I think, 2 or 3 boxes at like $130 a box, and then I had to pay tax on top of that. So that was right at release, and that was me standing in line at a shop locally to get boxes. And we had a limit of how many boxes that we could get. And I think that says a lot about the set. I might have even paid more than that. I might have paid like $140, $150 a box. The fact that it's on eBay right now at $120 a box, or maybe it's on Amazon at $120 a box, I'm just making that guess because it's on eBay at that price. You can literally buy a booster box of Silver Tempest for $120 on eBay right now. That's pretty phenomenal. And I know you can probably still get some deals. People will say, where do you see some of these lower prices, Orion? Wait for an auction. If you wait for auctions, there's likely you are going to get an opportunity to buy this stuff for slightly less than the last solds probably. Like, people aren't clamoring in line waiting to get Sword and Shield booster boxes that were mass produced. So I think there's going to be plenty of deals to go around for this stuff. But I do think inevitably, with how much product is getting opened, regardless with, how modern the set is or how much was printed, all these sets are going to get opened up eventually. They're going to go up in value eventually. You should really not be asking yourself, do I want to invest in this set? You should be asking yourself, do I want to buy this set when it's 140? Or do I want to buy this set for my personal collection, for my PC, or for, opening it up when it's 200. I'll just pay a little bit more to have it in my collection then. I don't like feeling like I'm getting rushed into anything. I get that mindset, but it is much better to buy this stuff now while it's still affordable. And before you know it, Scarlet and Violet is going to be at the end. We're going to see the end of an era, and that's when you're going to see that Sword and Shield stuff start to really move and get bought out. Especially if we get hints on the next era, on the next generation of Pokemon cards, and people even end up not very happy with the next generation after Scarlet and Violet, it's just going to make Sword and Shield even more popular than it is now. If you think 120, 130, 140, 150 is high for a booster box right now, I do think it is. I think that I really wish, I wish every box kind of came out the gate at $80, $90 tops and then rose from there, but that's just not what happens. We have sets that are more popular than each other. We have sets that, incite way more FOMO than other sets. I would say Silver Tempest and Brilliant Stars are both those kind of sets where when those came out, I thought they were going to be absolutely bangers, right? I thought these were going to get sold out and start moving up in price very quickly, and I was wrong. And I'm willing to admit that I was wrong on that. But I do see the end coming near for these Sword and Shield sets, and we'll know when we see Pokemon Center taking them out of stock. Once these products are out of stock, you're not going to be able to get them for that 140 price anymore. Like, Pokemon Center really is kind of controlling the market as far as that goes. Everyone is going to set that price a little bit higher because they know they're going to be able to get more than that once it's not readily available. So it's definitely something to think about. Silver Tempest for 120, buy, in my opinion. Brilliant Stars for anything under 140, maybe even go for 130, I think is a buy. I would personally like to get cases. If you can, buy cases of these booster boxes, but there is one kicker with buying cases of booster boxes is typically the case price is actually more than the average booster box price times 6. And I think the reason for that is, one, you cannot weigh out, you cannot have favoritism between the boxes. They're all sealed in one case, so you're kind of guaranteed that true, factory probability of what you're going to get. Whereas if people are selling you single booster boxes, and this might sound crazy, but I am 100% sure there's someone out there that is sitting with a massive scale that is weighing out all these boxes and kind of going, okay, well, this pile of boxes is all, a couple grams more than this pile of boxes, right? If you're deep into this hobby and you have a lot of product, there's a good chance that you're probably sitting on a lot of product and can actually weigh stuff out and pick the stuff that you think is going to have the heavier weight, the better pulls, the better probability of getting these chase cards, these alt arts, because they are heavy, they have more foil on them, and we have seen time and time again that packs are weighable. The booster boxes are weighable, most likely. So that's something that I would worry about, buying single booster boxes, and then they can get damaged in shipment. Whereas if you're buying it by the case, everything is nicely sealed. You've got that original case label on there showing you what's inside, what the date was, when they were allowed to sell, based on this can be sold, Brilliant Stars can be sold by, whatever the date is on there. You can, it's a little piece of history when you buy a case of booster boxes, but the mass majority of people are going to be buying single booster boxes. And I think there's nothing wrong with bolstering up your Pokemon portfolio, with, one box at a time. That's very doable. Everybody can pretty much afford to spend 120, 130 bucks, 130 bucks on a booster box a week or every other week and slowly build up, their sealed collection. Is it fun? Is it sexy? Is it exciting? Not really. But it is cool. You build up your collection that way, and it starts to, I feel like that's when you become more of a serious collector, is when you're starting to sit on this stuff and realize that it's much better to buy the sealed product and to sit on it and have it for later on the road when it gets too expensive to open, and enjoy it then when most people can't. Or if you're trying to gain a little bit of value on it, you're much better buying the booster boxes and sitting on them than going after all of the random products that are in GameStop and Target, the boxes and tins and blisters. I would honestly stay away from all of that. That's a mistake that I made early on collecting, and it's something that I wish I had done differently. I wish I would have just stuck with buying booster boxes and only booster boxes. Now, I've had a lot of fun opening up sleeve packs on the channel from, the old days of when I just grabbed stuff wherever I could find it. But honestly, I think the most value is in the booster boxes, and also the booster boxes look so good in that sealed wrap, in that shrink wrap, sealed up, untouched. There's just nothing that beats the feel of a booster box sealed in there. And Sword and Shield's exciting because we're already, getting closer to the end of this era. So that means Sword and Shield is going to start moving soon. And when I think of the options left, Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest are kind of the only options left. The Lugia is absolutely phenomenal. The Charizard is absolutely phenomenal. I have these cards up here. I probably should have had them out for reference, but I've talked about these quite a few times on the channel, and they're just absolutely phenomenal. These two cards are absolutely phenomenal, and these two cards, in my opinion, are why these sets are going to be so valuable down the road. This Charizard still shocks me. It is such a nice card. Honestly, the Charizard I like way, way, way more than the Lugia. The Lugia is cool. I like the art style. I like the sailor that he's flying over and freaking out. But the battle scene with Charizard and Venusaur here, it's just, we've never seen anything like it before. And then it's continued with the Charizard UPC, which was kind of a failed product, and now also starting to really move in value because these sets are getting, fairly close to being out of print. So exciting stuff, guys. I really think Silver Tempest is one of the best values you can get right now. Yes, there's these other Sword and Shield sets, but most of them are really around the 150, 160, pushing 180 mark. And at that point, with how recent these sets were released, I don't think that it's worth the value to get in bed with those sets. But if you have the money, especially right, the big question is this for your personal collection, your PC, or is it for investment purposes, buying and selling, no real attachment to it? For me, I want one box of every single set in Sword and Shield, regardless. I don't care about selling that one box down the road. I just want to have one box of each Sword and Shield set because it's really cool. Now you can do this. We can take this argument and put it in with ETBs as well, even though my opinion on ETBs has been the same since I started. They're too bulky. You don't get enough packs. They look awesome. They're great for display. You can stack them and it looks like you have a huge collection. That's awesome. Like, they make great YouTube backgrounds, but ETBs don't really have a lot going for them. They are fun to open. You get some value back with the promos, but 8 or 9 packs, I think 9 packs is the normal. Maybe it was 10 at one point, but it just doesn't really seem worth it to me. The booster box is smaller, takes up less space, easier to store, more of a staple investment product. Even when we're talking about, I mean, the only ETBs that you probably should be buying are the Pokemon Center stamped ETBs, but I still think that buying booster boxes is a better move than buying Pokemon Center ETBs. In the long run, I think that those Pokemon Center ETBs are going to hit a wall. They're going to hit a wall where they can't go any higher because there's only so much product in those ETBs. And that's fine. They're going to be worth way more than they were at retail, but booster boxes are just, they're abundant. They're around. They're easy to pick up. They're easy to sit on. And I think the growth potential on booster boxes is way higher, being that it is the 36 packs. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest. Just as far as Sword and Shield goes, y'all know that probably my new favorite set of all time, which is a bummer because it's not even a main set, is 151. I do think the plays that people should be making right now probably aren't even these sets. It's really 151, but I wanted to talk about Sword and Shield and give people one more reminder that this stuff is going to be out of print soon. It is going to leave Pokemon Center soon, and I should probably get another couple boxes or at least a case of each of these before it's too late. And when I say too late, this stuff is always going to be around, but I don't really want to spend more money to pick up the same products just to sit on them. So I think right now is a really, really good opportunity. Silver Tempest at 120 a box, 6 boxes, that's 600, 6 times 20, that's 120. 720 for a case of Silver Tempest seems really, really good. Now, you might not be able to find the case price for that, but it seems really good. Brilliant Stars, let's say 130 a box, or you pay the Pokemon Center 140 a box. Putting it at 600, 6 times 40, 240. So I'd say 840, 850 is probably around the case price of Brilliant Stars. Is that a great case price? I think if you're going to buy the whole case, and you should get some kind of deal on it, maybe like 750 to 800 flat. But people are probably going to want more for the case because it's all sealed and perfect. So if you can win auctions, guys, and you want to buy one box at a time, I would start watching those eBay auctions and watch these boxes and start to maybe accumulate them if this is something that you're trying to do. And if you're just strictly trying to buy it for your collection, this is still a really good time to buy these, get them, and not wait until they're 150, 160 a box. Every penny counts. When you're looking at selling this stuff down the road, small movements don't really matter much to us, but when you're looking at buying this stuff down the road and saving a little bit of money, getting it and saving $20 now as opposed to 3-4 months from now and paying $20 more, I would rather spend $20 less now and get this stuff. So anyways, peace out, guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know what you think.